I get where people are trying to get with perfection. They want things to be as good as possible, right? So in order for me to create this business, I need everything to line up in an ideal fashion so that way I can have the least amount of risk possible. So that way, when I put this business out into the marketplace, it's going to succeed. It's going to just blow the roof off this thing. Or like in your case, like before I go and I start investing, I want to know that if I invest $1, I'm going to make $3, right? Or as like Tupac would say, trying to make $1 out of 15 cents, right?
Mm.
So it's like I get it. However, I'm a believer that you need to have a mindset of an optimizer, that you have to look at things like what you were saying earlier. Like, I can always get better, I can have continual growth every single day of my life. That what I put out today, I'm going to be able to make it better a year from now, 2 years from now. It's kind of like what we were talking about in our previous podcast when we were talking about the CEO of Coinbase. It's like to put out that one thing and say, this is it. I've made it. I've arrived. It's like, that's just the worst thing that you can do, because it's like, you think when you look at your data, and we've had clients like this where they're just like, hey, I'm doing incredible. I'm getting 6% conversions on my Google ads. I'm killing life right now. And it's like, well, what if you could get 10% conversion? What if you could get 12%? Or like in your case, what if a year from now my investments are that much better? Like I've invested in different cryptos. Like, man, I've gone from just making a couple bucks, now making $10 for every trade. And you just keep optimizing it because you just want it to grow and get better. But if you're going for perfection, it's like saying that I'm one and done. Like, I can get it all in one shot. And it's like, okay, yeah, you can get it great. It can come out with great quality. But what if you can constantly make it better? Like, that's where your mindset has to be.
Continuous improvement. Japanese have a word for that, kaizen. And I think Toyota uses this. This is like a big mantra for them, continuous improvement. So one, it's ignoring perfection and doing the absolute best job possible that you can, putting it out there, and then evaluating it. And then next time you have to make a car, it's going to be the best possible car at that time. And then the next one, best possible car at that time. You're always improving. If you have that mindset, then you'll be less worried about perfection.
People try to say, hey, let's try to get it right the first time,
Mm-hmm.
right? I
Yeah.
think that's really where the perfection comes in. Let's get it perfect. Let's get it just right. and
Yeah.
and it's interesting you used the company that you used, because what is Toyota known for? Quality.
Mm-hmm.
That's a durable vehicle. Like, my Camry, I don't have it anymore, but I never had a problem with it for over 10 years. It was like I was sad to let it go,
Yeah.
but I knew it was time to upgrade. I knew my family was growing, and there's a lot of reasons. But the point is, over 10 years, the only thing I ever changed on it was the battery and the tires and the brakes.
Mm-hmm.
In 10 years.
Yeah. That's impressive. And
So I mean,
as
that
good
says a
as,
lot. That
yeah,
and they're not even about perfection.
yeah, as good as the cars are in terms of quality, uh, they know that there's always room for improvement. And so that doesn't hold them back from releasing the next car. But I think a lot of people, they get stuck because they think something has to be perfect. Like launching a business, you think, okay, well, I've got to have this business plan detailed, and I've got to have all these all these details just have to be perfect before I can even launch, before I can even tell people that I'm doing this.
Mhm.
And I think at some point, like, yes, there are steps you need to take to make sure your product or your business is right to launch. But there's this point where you go past that preparation and you go into procrastination
Hmm.
based on fear. It's like you just keep coming up with reasons that you can't launch. Well, I have to do this first. I have to do this. And at some point, it's like you just have to say to yourself, look, this has to just go out there and I'm going to improve.
Hmm.
You
Yeah,
have to tell yourself
absolutely.
you'll make mistakes and then you learn from
Hmm.
them. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, because I think this goes into another realm for people that are in this position. What ends up happening in my experience is when someone wants perfection, they dwell on things that don't even move the needle.
Hmm.
Like, oh, I'm gonna put, I want to make this particular image bigger. Oh, let's like add this one little word and let's like add to the, and it's like, okay, for one, I get where you're coming from. Like they put it under the guise of, oh, like I'm OCD, I'm a perfectionist, I need it right, and it's like, no, you're wasting your time on things that you don't even know will move the needle. It's like, put it out there, and then we can test those things. We can test whether or not making the logo bigger, right? We've heard that, make it bigger, and it's like,
Oh yeah.
what test are you basing this off of? Like, it's like, well, to my eye, because I see things a certain way, and it's like, well, I've spent here an entire day making this logo bigger, and we have no idea how much this is going to improve the performance of this piece of marketing. And it's like, well, that's where we got to get into that mindset of like, let's focus on that 20% that causes the 80% growth for us, or you know what I mean. It's like we need to focus on those things. Like, if we get it out there, then we can test and see, what is that 20%. Is it adding that little word? Is it making this logo bigger? What exactly will it do? And we don't even know yet, and I'm spending a lot of time here, and then what if I put this out and nobody even responds to the marketing anyways? So now I've spent months and months and months on something because you're nitpicking every little thing that didn't even move the needle. And then we put it out there and didn't work to begin with because you've put in 500 different messages when we started with one message that we needed to test out, right? We've seen that. Well, oh, why can't I add this discount? Can I add that other offer that I have? Can I add this? Oh, I got to add it all in here. It's got to be perfect. And it's like, you don't even know what offer works. Like, relax. Like, let's do one, test it, and then just make it better. And that's what ends up happening. It's like what you talked about with Ted Williams. Did Ted Williams hit 400 his very first year? And if he did, that's interesting that he only hit it one time, right?
Yeah.
But if, without even looking at his stats, I bet it happened after a few years he was playing professional, that he kept optimizing and tweaking his swing and tweaking his approach at each at bat, and just realizing how he can get these hits more efficiently and be better each time that he came up to bat. But if he came to that situation with the mindset, I got to get a hit every single time, he never would have made it.